Hey you guys, it's your boy Davion. Welcome to another episode of Conscious TV. You guys already know what we're here to discuss. We're discussing part 2 of Iyanla's Fix My Life Season 6. And the lie detector says, so make sure that you guys rate, comment, share, and subscribe. You guys know that you can donate to the show at paypal.me/conscious-tv, as well as email me at conscious-tv@gmail.com. Let's get into it. Hey you guys, we are back here and I have to admit a nigga is tired. The grand hustle is real right now. I want to give a shout out to Nicole. Nicole is one of the daughters from Iyanla's Fix My Life. She commented on part 1 of my review and just want to give her a big shout out. It's been a joy and super intense watching you and your family put y'all shit out there on the line. But speaking of putting y'all shit out there on the line, let's get into the final conclusion of part 2 of this episode. So you guys know I have my handy dandy notes right here, so I'm going to be referring to them throughout this episode. First of all, I want to say this is how TV is motherfucking done. Like, Iyanla, you make me want cable and just want your show as the only show that my TV will even pick up. Because this is the type of television I want to see. Unscripted, intense, relatable, honest, and that pertains to like the actuality of the human life. I also love Hoarders, Buried Alive. I love Scared Straight. I love My 600-Pound Life. Anything that's like reality based, I really love because I find human beings very fascinating. This episode had me a bawling mess. Nicole really won me over in part 2. In part 2, my heart just completely fucking broke. Like, I was just literally in my fucking bed, just like teary-eyed, a hot mess, the ugly cry, the whole nine. I was hurt for her. I was hurt for the sisters. I was hurt even for the mom, and definitely for the dad, and we'll get into me being hurt for the mom in a minute. Basically, the lie detector test revealed that the daddy was innocent, and the lie detector test revealed that the mom was a lying ass motherfucker. Specifically, the mom not only lied, but mom lied from a place of vindictiveness. This lie really infected and impacted this family in the most insane of ways, and it wasn't just the lie alone that ripped this family apart. It was the dysfunction of the mother herself, who was literally trying to coerce her daughters into believing a untruth about their father. She even went as far as to giving Nicole up and putting her away in foster care. I mean, the intention and the nastiness and the disconnectedness of this woman was really extreme. Honestly, I'm forced to believe that these girls might have been better off, definitely with their father, of course, but even in a foster care system away from this mother. The mom is a full-blown narcissist in every single kind of way, completely obsessed with her own life fantasies, and she's so consumed by the idea of her that her children essentially were fucking invisible, and that's why she was able to just use them as props, use them as weapons, use them as anything else other than actual human beings who she should have been growing and loving on and molding to be upstanding, beautiful women. But the mom, a lying ass sack of shit. Now, I really started to get the sense that mama might have had a few screws loose. Like, some of the marbles weren't totally in the bag. Like, the cash register was missing a few dollar bills. Mom was giving me like short bus shorty. When it was revealed that mom had been raped and violated herself by a undisclosed person, they bleeped that part out, so we don't know whether mom was molested by her own father, raped by her own uncles, her own brothers, or we don't know what her relationship is to her abuser, but mom allegedly had been sexually assaulted at some point in her own life. And that to me made sense, because I'm like, you can't just jump from ex-husband, now divorced, co-parenting, and boom, you can assume ex-hubby is the fucking rapist or a molester. Like, that has to come from somewhere, and it felt like it was a part of something else. So when the mom's own sexual abuse came up, I was like, here it go. There's a fear that this cycle will repeat itself with her daughter, and that's why it's so fucking important for people to seek justice and for people to stand in your truth. Speak your fucking truth. Don't worry about who the fuck is gonna hurt. Don't worry about if mama gonna be mad, if daddy gonna be mad. Don't feel that you're gonna upset the whole family dynamic because this happened to you, because a lot of victims, especially when the sexual abuse has come from within the family, they feel like they have to protect, like they have some allegiance to shield the family from the reality of this really dark, painful thing that has happened, because it will affect the family. But the burden of dealing with that is not on the victim. The family will just have to fucking deal with it accordingly. So I really want to encourage victims to stand up for yourself. Don't think about what's in the best interest of your family if you have been molested or raped by anybody, yet alone raped by somebody in the family. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't care how much the people around you love this person. If this person has violated you, you need to speak up for yourself, whether that's going to the authorities or going to someone who you can trust and who you feel can help you confront and deal with what has happened to you. So with that being said, I empathize with mom, because the truth is, hurt people hurt people. There is no fucking excuse. This doesn't make what mama did right. It doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it, she don't get a pass for it. But hurt people do fucking hurt people. And between the father admitting that there was at least one altercation he's definitely willing to take accountability for, because he said out of his own mouth he did knock her out cold at some point in time in their relationship, but he vowed to never ever hit her again. But she has multiplied this incident and act like they was just in a physically abusive relationship. The mom has continued to play that out. But that's the thing about hurt people. Mom was already a victim of sexual assault. Then she entered into a relationship that she didn't really want to begin with, because she was already in love with another man, and ended up sleeping with this guy because she was sexually deprived, then ended up getting pregnant. Not only did she not want the children, not only did she not want the child that she got pregnant with by this man she wasn't in love with, but she was also already wounded. And then when the man she wasn't in love with, who she chose to be with because she felt she needed to give her daughters a fair shot at a real family and with their biological family all in the household together, that man beat her and things didn't work out in a relationship. The mom took all of her flaws, all of her mistakes, all of her dishonoring of herself out on him. You chose that man. Nobody told you to. Your daughters didn't tell you to choose him as a lover. Your lover was prepared to father and step-parent the child you got pregnant with while in a relationship with him. You obligated yourself to be with the man who you didn't have an emotional relationship to, and in that, you dishonored yourself. And anytime you dishonor yourself, you're not true to yourself. You're not true to what's real for you. You will start walking in situations and manifestations that reflect that dishonoring back to you. That comes in the form of attracting people who are going to hurt you, who are going to fail you, who are going to disappoint you. And that's why it's so fucking important for us to develop a strong, loving, healthy relationship to ourselves, because when you love yourself, you know yourself, and when you know yourself, you respect yourself, and you live intentionally, you choose intentionally. But when you're not healing that shit up, when you are living as a unconscious person, that means you're dating unconsciously. You are choosing men and women out of your unconsciousness. It also means that that unconsciousness is going to be reflected in your parenting if you happen to have children. And this generation and generation and generation of dysfunctionality, because now Nicole gotta clean up that shit in her so that the shit that happened to her isn't reflected and doesn't bleed out into her parenting. It doesn't bleed out into the way she shows up in her children's life, which is why Iyanla had to check Nicole about being a bad mom, because Part of parenting is not just in what you tell your children to do, it's in what you show your children to do. And one thing we know about kids is you can tell them 1,000,001 times, don't do this. But true tea is, if they see mama doing it, they gonna fucking do it, because kids don't do what they're told, they do what they're shown. Parents are the model for how one is to be and what's okay to do in the world. Kids will oftentimes model the same habits of their parents because the parent is the role model. And whatever mom is doing, whatever dad is doing, it must be right. So Iyanla was right in checking the living dog shit out of Nicole. You are demonstrating violence, and that this is okay conflict resolution in front of your children because you're fighting your sisters and whoever else in front of your kids. What is this teaching your children as they grow up to be young people and have to go out into this world, into the school system, and be around other young people, be around other young adults, and then become young people themselves? It made me uncomfortable to watch Iyanla call Nicole a bad mother, because I can only imagine the sting of that. But I was also very proud of Iyanla being able to tell Nicole the bona fide ugly truth, because sometimes we need to be stung. We need to have our egos stung and confronted and punched and battered and bruised, and just have our egos asses kicked, because it's not until we dismantle this wall of pain, this wall of shame, this wall of error, that we can get into living more righteously. The daddy told the mama something that I found to be really profound, which is when it came to forgiveness, he just told her, ask God for forgiveness. And he was honest about not being able to be in a place to forgive her because, for one, he didn't feel like the shit was fucking sincere. He didn't feel like she meant it, and he feels like even to this day she still believes what the hell she believes. I would have liked to see more from the mom in terms of more of an emotional expression, because she caused profound damage. I wasn't as satisfied with her apology myself. I felt like she could have really committed, and she could have really reached in and really just dropped the defense, because mom is on the defense. You can tell mom don't like the ex-husband. You can tell she just, every time she looks at him, she sees everything that she regrets about her life. That's her projecting onto him. I like that Iyanla made mama tell Nicole the brutal fucking truth. She didn't let her jazz that shit up, remix that shit up, edit that shit up. Tell her the gutter raw truth. You didn't want her. You didn't want her, and you didn't love her. Because, see, the truth is powerful, and the truth does set us free, even as painful as the truth can be, because once you know and accept the truth for what it is, you're able to move on with your life. See, by Nicole hearing it from her mama that she didn't want the pregnancy, this can act as a catalyst for Nicole to fully mourn the mom she's never going to have. And this will put her in a position to accept where she is, because she can finally let go of the fantasy of who she believed her mother was, or what she believed about her mother's love for her, and having her mom tell her the full bona fide truth about the way she feels about Nicole, and about the way she felt about the dad, and the way she feels as a woman. This can assist Nicole in just letting go, because we all have fantasies of our parents. We all have fantasies. I've been around young men growing up who didn't have their dads in the household, and these young men, despite never knowing their biological father, would have this over-romanticized sense of their dad in their heads. Even though their mom was the one who was taking care of them, they thought highly of their dad. Daddy is this and their daddy is that, despite their daddy not being around, despite their daddy paying no child support, despite their daddy not even signing the goddamn birth certificate. And so, as children, we do romanticize our parents. And when you have a situation like this, where you have a lot of hurt, you have a lot of grief, you have a parent who is just the sperm donor, it's just the egg carrier, just the incubator, but is not a part of the mothering, not a part of the parenting process. Yeah, that truth, as brutal as it is, it hurts, but it's fucking necessary, because Nicole will forever keep believing something about the potential of her relationship to her mom if her mom would have been able to keep up the lie. And if Iyanla wasn't there, I believe that the mom would have given Nicole a very sugared, watered down version of the truth. Tell her the truth so that that shit can die. Now that she's known you've never wanted her, now that she knows how fucked up of a woman you were prior to having her, now she can actually stand in front of that version of you and let go of her fantasy of you. And we always need to tell the fucking truth to whomever the truth should be given to. We aren't doing anybody any fucking favor by lying. If you're in a relationship with somebody who you're not in love with, stop fucking lying. Tell that motherfucker you're no longer in fucking love. If you have friends in your life who don't serve you, friends in your life who don't support you, friends in your life who you are not personally edified by, supported by, feel good about, or that you feel value you, stop holding on to them niggas and tell them the fucking truth. Let the friendship go. Let the associations go. If you have family members who you tolerate, family members who do you wrong, family members who you know don't care about you, but yet you continue to overextend yourself to them, you continue to show up despite feeling uncomfortable, you know you're dishonoring yourself constantly, stop it. Stop doing it to yourself and stop doing it to others. And you can't even be real with nobody until you're able to be real with your fucking self. We need to start being honest with ourselves and practicing that honesty with everyone around us. It'll make us better people, and the truth actually in and of itself can help repair the damage in the relationship. If I tell you where I'm honestly at with you and you tell me where you honestly at with me, then we can have an honest conversation about what the fuck to do with that. That gives us the foundation to decide whether there's things we want to work towards to improve upon what we have between each other, or whether it's best if we both go our separate fucking ways. But somebody gotta tell the fucking truth before we can get to either repairing or letting the fuck go. Another part that stood out to me was when Nicole was talking to Whitney, and Nicole was basically asking Whitney for forgiveness, and she was telling Whitney that, you know, I tried to get you to believe me about daddy our whole life, but you didn't want to. And Whitney was saying, look, Nicole, that was your experience. That wasn't my experience. That's something that we need to be mindful of, okay? That all of us are having our own individual experience. And while it may be true for you that mom is a great person, that's not true for me, because we don't know what's going on in the relationship, you know, with this person to the people around us. Every relationship is nuanced and it's unique. So don't think that just because grandma good in your eyes, that she good in everybody's eyes. Don't think that just because daddy is perfect in your eyes, that he's perfect in everybody else's eyes. Familyship works the same way that any other relationship works in life, whether that's companionship or friendship, association, which is compatibility. Fitting personalities. We all know that in families, one child can be compared to one of the parents and the other child can be compared to the other parent. One child can be a mama's boy, the other child can be a daddy's girl. You know, there's different levels and compatibilities even within family. We should not get into trying to force people to feel the way that we feel about people, but more so try to get to the bottom of why people feel the way that they feel and facilitate conversation, facilitate healthy confrontation so that family can stand on as much of a healthy and cohesive, harmonious ground as fucking possible. I don't force allegiance, I don't force alliance. All I do is base my relationships off of my personal experience. And if you can see the best in somebody who I'm only experiencing the worst out of, kudos for you. That's just not my motherfucking experience. Out of everybody involved, I think Nicole and her mom will need long-term therapy outside of the show. Nicole has been through a lot from the very jump. I honestly love Nicole. I just want to support Nicole. I know what it's like to not have that relationship to one of your parents, particularly one of your biological parents. And the way she was done was completely unwarranted. And your pain is understandable. And I can understand why you're so angry. And I can understand why you were able to be so unaware and be so unconscious. Because when you have to internalize that much strife and that much struggle and that much heartbreak and agony. Yeah, you get blinded by the pain. I was really happy to hear that the update is you and your sisters have gotten much closer and that y'all have gotten close to y'all father. You and your sisters, y'all were casualties of war. Y'all were just casualties of war. And Iyanla was right. This wasn't personal. Whitney was just the casualty of war between what was going on between you and your mother. And y'all were just the casualties of war between what was going on between your mother and y'all father. So we have a lot of innocent bystanders. We have a lot of stray bullets that flew and hit innocent fucking people. Sisters, y'all have to forgive each other. Cause y'all didn't know no fucking better. Y'all were fucking kids. Y'all were thrusted into this bullshit. And it's okay for y'all to start all the way over. This thing was bad from the start. And y'all never had a fair shot to get it right out of the gate. Because y'all parents were divided and dysfunctional and your mother was sick. Y'all deserve a sisterhood. Side note, it was fucking hilarious when Nicole ass had got up and left the room and Iyanla had went in there to talk to her ass. The way that Nicole was looking at Miss Iyanla Van Zandt, I just knew Nicole ass wanted to uppercut Iyanla ass through the fucking ceiling. I mean, Nicole was just biting them lips, just I was like, for a split second, I thought it was going to go the fucks down. Like, and Iyanla felt it too. Iyanla played that shit off. Iyanla stayed on Nicole's ass, and Iyanla didn't back down, and Iyanla didn't show no fucking fear. But Iyanla showed that her ass was very aware of the goddamn hell that was brewing up inside of Nicole's ass, because she politely got her ass up and made sure she looked behind her ass to see where Nicole's ass was in proximity to her body, in case she would have had to stiletto pumps in the club Nicole's ass. Toward the end, Iyanla spoke about antibiotics, and you know what? Healing is a journey. A apology is a moment. A apology is a event. Healing is a journey. Now you have to recondition the mind to not behave according to the old narrative. You know, because oftentimes people find themselves apologizing and saying they're sorry, but being repetitive and repetitious in old behavior. But you said you were past it. So why are we here again? Where's all this heat coming from? Why are you keeping the same energy after your forgiveness that was there before the forgiveness? That letting go has to be consistent with the way you show up after the fact. And that means staying in front of yourself, because oftentimes when new adversities happen in a relationship that's being repaired, it's easy to go back to the old minds. Like, this bitch, this old lying ass bitch, she done da 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 da. And then you find yourself having word vomit, playing out all the shit that ain't got nothing to do with the new adversity. Because healing a relationship doesn't mean that the relationship is going to be perfect going forward. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have disagreements. Of course we are. We're human. We're going to have disagreements. We're going to get on each other's nerves. But getting on each other's nerves and disagreeing can't be off of the heels of what we claiming we're leaving behind. That shit has to be done. And that means constantly letting go of the old narrative. And your ego will play your pain out over and over and over and over and over, because you've had a commitment to this narrative. You've been committed to this victimhood. You've been committed to this anger for years. So starting over is going to take a lot of consistency, a lot of persistency. And your mind isn't going to let that go overnight. That's why therapy is so important. It's why accountability is so important. I'm reestablishing you as a whole new person before me. And your sins are going to be new sins. My sins in your life are going to be new fucking sins. We're going to deal with each other according to who we are today, not who we were back then. So healing is a journey. A apology is a moment. I'm just really happy to hear that these girls are getting along. I think that wraps up my motherfucking review for part 2 of the Lie Detector Says. Iyanla, I am just so proud of you. I know a lot of people give you slack. I really don't know why. I think you're the bomb.fucking-com. I would love for you to come into my goddamn family and whip off in hoes' asses and snatch wigs and make people want to jump out of windows and hang themselves and shit, because, you know, we got some shit we need to work on as a family too. But I appreciate your work, honey. And these positive updates to these people's time on the show is evidence that she's making a difference, that her ministry and her methods can be effective. It's all in whether people want to do the work and whether they're willing to commit to the work after the show. The father got his vindication. He now has a stronger relationship to his daughters. He has his grandkids in his life. Whitney's able to finally open up to the relationship to her dad, because this is live, whether he had abused her, you know, was a big rift, and she wasn't able to get but so close before being able to come to find out what the truth was. And Nicole and her relationship to her sisters were able, that shit is beautiful, man. Nicole, if you see this video, reach out to me. Please email me. I would love to talk with you more. I would love to even potentially bring you onto my platform and just have a conversation about your experience and talk about your family dynamic, because we have a similar story. We have similar things that have happened in both of our families, to tell us where you are, to give an update, and for us to just kind of talk about these family dynamics, because that's a really necessary conversation, especially within the Black community, because the Black community is plagued with a lot of issues, and sexual abuse is real. Bitterness and resentfulness between parents is real. Strife between siblings is real. Thank you guys for sharing your life with us. What do you guys, Conscious Crew, think about this episode of Iyanla Part 2? Were you guys surprised by anything? How do you think the girl should deal with the mom now? Because despite her lying and being vindictive and being disconnected, she still is the mother. What do you even do with that? I would love to hear y'all's thoughts below. Once again, make sure you comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, you guys. You have to hit the notification bell every time that you tune into a video. You guys already know you can donate to me at paypal.me/conscious-tv, as well as email me at conscious-tv@gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram at conscious-tv. I love you guys, and in the words of Iyanla, stay in peace and not pieces.